Welcome back to our Ramadan series on the beautiful names and attributes of God. As before, we are reading the 99 Beautiful Names of God by Al-Ghazali. Today we are learning a very special name, Al-Wadud, which means the most loving. In fact, a comment in the first video of this series mentioned Al-Wadud too. Thank you for sharing that with us. Al-Wadud is the one who wishes all creatures well and favors them. The Arabic root carries the meaning of warm affection, devoted love, and a love that shows itself through action. This name is related to Ar-Rahim, which is the merciful. But the difference is that Ar-Rahim is a mercy in response to someone's need, whereas Al-Wadud is a love given freely, a love that overflows from the very nature of God. When I first learned this name, I found it something like quite foreign. Because in Japan, we don't often say, God loves me. This is an unfamiliar expression. In fact, even between people, we don't say I love you very often. This can feel too direct. Japanese culture tends to be more reserved and modest, and expressions of love are based on quiet affection. Instead, in Japan, it's more common to say things like, if you keep trying, God will give you a chance, or God heard my wish, or I was blessed. It's less about being loved and more about receiving favor or harmony. So when I encountered Al-Wadud, the most loving, it felt quite new. It's a bit too intimate for me. And this made me think, when do I actually feel loved by God? The first answer was easy, when I was lucky enough to see the sunset turning deep red across the sky, or when I enjoy my favorite hot spring, onsen, and feel completely at peace, or when I laugh with my family, or when I reached my goal. In those moments, I naturally think, oh, this must be from God, or I am blessed, I am loved by God. But of course, life is not only full of incredible sunsets and hot springs, unfortunately. There are also failures, regrets, or embarrassing mistakes, and painful experiences. And I have to be honest, when something painful happened in the past, I didn't always feel loved in those moments. Sometimes I struggled to understand why this happened to me or others. Meanwhile, I tried to push myself to think positively, like, what does God want me to learn from those difficult experiences? What I've learned about Islam is it teaches us that difficulties are also a sign of God's love. Islam teaches that hardships can purify us, help us grow, and bring us closer to Him. An example of this is like the way gold is refined and purified through fire. This way of thinking is not completely new to me. Even before I became Muslim, I always believed that painful experiences can shape me into someone stronger, wiser, softer. This means that nothing is completely meaningless. But when I learned the name Al-Wadud and what Islam teaches about our difficulties in life, I appreciate that being loved does not mean having everything we desire or that life will be easy. Love is also there during our times of struggle and grief. Al-Wadud reminds me that God's love is always present, not just in the beautiful moments, but in all of my life. So how can we practice this attribute in our lives? One way is to wish for God's creatures whatever we desire for ourselves. And the highest level and perfection of this characteristic is when we wish good for others even during our moments of anger, hatred, or when we experience harm. I have to admit this is a really high standard and something I might need to work on. What does being loved by God mean to you? How do you recognize His love in your life? Please share your thoughts in the comments. That would be great to hear. Thank you for joining again. Matane!